stop is On the Radar Radio.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, baby. On the Radar Radio. Yo, special guest in the building. Her new project, Feline season, out now. Antha Pantha in the building.
Meow.
What's good? Welcome to the show.
What's good?
Do you do, like, is it meow like a consistent thing for you? Like, is this like, do you do this in all your interviews too?
Meow is just like, hey, but the that's like when I'm about to spit some shit.
Okay, word. So meow is just like for like the...
Yeah, that's just like chill.
It's like we chilling.
Yeah.
And the other one is like, oh, we about to turn up.
Exactly.
We were joking about like country music before this. Like, what is the country version of that?
Meow.
We're gonna work on it.
Yeah, we're gonna think about that.
Before the Antha Pantha country album, we're gonna work on it.
We're gonna come back to
How you
that.
been though?
I'm great.
I'm so excited to have you here.
I know, I'm so happy to be here.
Project out now. Super dope.
Thanks.
And just to start it off with, like, one of the coolest things when I was getting ready for this interview, there was like this great picture, and I recognized it because it was the Audio Mac office. But you had posted on Instagram, and you had written this very long caption about, well, it wasn't that long, about creating during the pandemic, right? Which is I feel like we don't talk about anymore because it's kind of like, one, it's kind of like we're far removed from it in a way, even though we're not that far removed from it.
Right.
But was this project, was a bulk of it created during that time? Because I know you said that you guys had like created throughout the entire pandemic and shit. So like, what was that creative time like for you? Because, you know, I think it was like a time for most of us to kind of really get into our bag.
Yeah, it was scary at first because of course we didn't know what was gonna happen, but we had access to a studio, and it was like, we're not gonna be around nobody but us. Just make sure we just stay around us. And those 3 months of being locked in, we were like going crazy because we couldn't create. And we had enough time, I had enough time to basically figure out what I wanted to talk about. Like, next time I get in the studio, what you gonna talk about? What you gonna do? So when we got in that studio, I was just going crazy.
Right.
Like, this is not even half of the music that I was able to make. But it was fun because it was crazy. So at a crazy time, I was like, let me do something fun, because if this is the last thing I ever make, I want somebody to find it in the rubble 20 years from now.
Of New York City.
In New York City, and be like, oh my God,
Look what I
greatness
found.
lived. So, you know, for me, it was amazing.
I like that. You know, it's during that time, like, it is kind of scary because I never really thought about it from that perspective. But you're like, if this is the last thing I make, and it's kind of crazy because, like, a lot of us, we were just kind of doing our thing back then. I surely didn't think about this is the last interview that I'm ever do. But it is kind of crazy to think about from that mindset back then. Where it's like, oh, this might be the last thing I ever create.
Because at first I didn't, but it was like one day I went to the store and it was like nobody outside. Like nobody. And I was just like, hold on, I think we like joking around a little bit too much. Like, New York ain't never looked like this. Like, yeah. So it was a seriousness to it, but it was also to like, if this is the worst, let's leave our best.
Right. Which is like interesting because like around that time is like when the pandemic happened, is when I feel like a lot of motion for you, a lot of things were going on. Like, you were having a really good season at that time, right? And then the pandemic comes and then it just stops everything, right?
Took that rug right up under my feet.
What was that experience like for you, having that rug kind of pulled from under your feet by a situation that really obviously nobody can even control?
So like right before that, I kind of got in a space where everything has to happen when it's supposed to. So thank God for that, because I probably would have had a nervous breakdown.
Right.
Because I was like, shit, me and Ferg had shot like 3 videos in 4 days. We were ready. At least we thought we were. And then I just felt like God was like, not yet. And I'm glad, because I made bigger videos. I made bigger records.
Absolutely.
And I got a time to sit with myself and basically say, like, what kind of artist do you want to be? Like, what's your statement? Like, who you want to be as an artist? And it's very different than right before the pandemic.
What are the differences between those two statements, as like, who does Antha Pantha want to be as an artist?
First, it was just like, I know I'm talented. You know, people have been telling me this, and it's time for me to just do the music. And I kind of just wanted to be like a writer. And then during the pandemic, it was like, nah, you sitting in this time because you're supposed to like absorb it. You're supposed to figure out who you are in this time. So for me, it was like, you got to be a fierce, dope female. You got to stand for something. You got to stand for unity, females, and just speak up for where you come from. And it was more like, now this is like a mission. This is like a destiny. It's almost like a job, but a job that I really love. So,
right. Well, they say what do they always say? They're like, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
right. So these days is feeling like the best job ever.
Right. It just feels like destiny now.
Yeah, it really does. Cause I felt like I done music and stopped and did it probably about 3-4 times. I always felt like I had other responsibilities, so now's not the time for music.
Right.
But then I'm like, you keep landing back in the same spot. So
Yeah.
this is where you're supposed to be.
Do you feel like the universe kind of propelled you in that way too? Like at least like these past 2 years since we've kind of been back outside, it's like
Always.
because like I think once you have that music, it's like different when you're just stuck inside because of the pandemic, and like now it's like, okay, let's see how things move as I move around outside again.
Oh yeah, it's lit. Cause it's moving, and I just enjoy like getting people's responses because they're different, they're good. You know, even the bad ones, I'll feel like, you know, it wouldn't make me feel like I'm doing something wrong. I know everything ain't for everybody.
Yep.
But it'll also make me say like, okay, well, what can I do better?
Right.
Or like, how can my lyrics, you know, touch different people, or, you know? But I'm here for it. I'm super pumped.
Has anybody responded to the project in that way that it's like, yo, this part of this album has really touched me?
It's crazy because I just read a DM and someone, I'm not sure where they're from. They might be from Spain.
Wow,
and
that's dope.
She was like, you know, I love your album. She was like, I don't really speak good English, but, you know, I want to bother you and tell you what songs that I like a lot.
I like that.
And I was like, sure, you can. She didn't write back yet. It's probably a time difference, but I feel like stuff like that made me feel like I'm on the right track.
I like that. From Spain is crazy.
Yes.
Spain is like, I feel like people sleep on Spain because Spain consumes a lot of Western music, English and Spanish. Mm-hmm. So like I noticed that even with the music that we put out, like one of our biggest things is Spain, and other Spanish artists from New York have been like, oh yeah, Spain, like they really consume a lot of music, which is interesting because I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put that on Spain, but shout out to Spain.
Shout out to Spain. So with you for this project, right, with Feline Season, right, with how much of it was recorded during that time, during the pandemic?
Let me see. What I got 12?
That you can remember.
I got 12 songs on there. Damn. I know 2 wasn't.
Okay.
So I would say like, yeah, majority, probably like 80% of that joint.
Well, with like the intention behind the project and you kind of crafting it, right? Like what went into that? Like what was kind of like the beginning of like the conceptualization of like, okay, I want this to be like Feline Season, all the way from the title down to the artwork, and even like kind of like in a way like the track listing and all, just like a little bit of all the things that went into this project for you that you were really passionate about to get across to the people.
So crazy thing is, Feline Season was always the name. Like that was before the music. So I kind of feel like, because I'm a cat lover, like I love cats.
Okay.
Like if I could be a cat in the afterlife, God, that's what I want. But I love cats, and I don't know how exactly the name came about, but once I said it, it was like, oh yeah, Feline Season. I'm like, that's the name of the next project. So it's not like I built the songs around it, but I feel like I went off of that energy, and I was just like, it's a lot of cat shit going on. So we gonna be catty and witty, and we gonna land on our feet, and just coming up with all these kind of like metaphors about cats. And I don't know, I guess I just was subconsciously just directed the music that way. Okay. And picking the songs was actually one of the hardest parts because we had a bunch of records, and we did like a vote, and it's good to have like my Suicide bros. It's a lot of us, so we could sit in the studio and vote and play the records, and because they had to help me because I would have put everything on there. And the order, basically, I kind of grouped it into characters that I am playing in my music. So I have like Lady Sphinx and all the cat music in the beginning, and then in the middle it's another character called Sexual Vanilla. That's like all the disco eclectic type sounds, and then the core of Antha, the chick from Harlem. That's how I end it.
I like that. So there's like a little transition through, like you're really taking everybody through. I didn't really notice that.
Because I wanted to mix it up, but then I was like, I don't want to confuse people.
Right.
I want to basically walk people through what I want them to see.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because I was about to say, because now that you mention it, I definitely understand the project a little bit better now. But it's cool how you have like those 3 different personalities that you kind of like show through the music as well too. Because I even feel like you even get like that like Harlem Antha Pantha through like the brick by brick, and then obviously when you accompany the video with that, like it's a very different aesthetic than the way you start off the project.
Yeah. And that was another thing. I was like, I don't want to start it with the singles that I've been presenting. Like I want to start it almost like it's totally different artists.
Yeah.
So people who listen to it, I don't want them to be like, man, this ain't what I paid for. But at the same time, I want them to be like, hold up. It's not what I expected. This is like creative. This is fun. Like, it's Antha Pantha. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the hardest process.
Right.
Putting the songs in order and picking the records, because I got another 2 albums just waiting.
I was about to say, for you with this project, is there like a particular song on it that's like means the most to you? Well, let's do this. What song on this project means the most to you, and what song do you feel like has been like the most like underrated or like the biggest sleeper on the project?
I feel like the song that means the most to me right now, because I might change it, but right now, Wildcats.
Wildcats, okay.
I feel like that's one of the most, that's like a fun record. And because like I don't have a visual for it yet, I see it like as a big like theatrical extra Warriors type movie.
Okay.
So that right now is like my super favorite. It's animated. It sounds like something that could be in like a Marvel movie or something.
Yeah.
And the one that means the most to me, I would say Brick by Brick. Because I ain't really talking about drugs. I'm talking about me and my friends building something.
Yeah.
So like Sewer Sounds is, well, Ferg is his label, but it's ours. Because we all really like sat together and thought of this idea in like a matter of hours and all like put the same amount of input into it. So we building a whole empire.
That's beautiful.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. Well, I want to talk about the video, but since you mentioned Ferg, you had this really nice post about on IG. You said it's a big difference between saying you want to help someone and actually doing it, right? And obviously you go on to thank him and everything, and knees and elbows, number 12 on the project. How has Ferg helped you? Well, behind like the meaning behind that post, essentially, like saying something versus doing it. How has he helped you through this whole process, especially with this tape?
So yeah, I've worked with people before, and they say like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this, do that, and do that," and it never happens. So that's one.
Right.
He actually gonna stand by what he said. And me and him were friends since, well, our fathers were best friends growing up. So we always like were around, but not musically. And then he was actually looking for a female artist, I don't know, for a record or something. But we linked up on that and like never separated. But it's just like he pushed me to be comfortable with rapping and just being more outside the box, because I would joke and laugh and be like super characterized in the studio. And he would be like, yo, that shit you just did, go in the booth and like do that.
Do it again, yeah.
Like go do something like that on the track.
Yeah.
So got me super comfortable, because I was an R&B singer.
Right.
So he got me super comfortable with just putting the person that he knew on the track, because I would have probably just been singing about a broken heart, and he know that ain't even me. So he was like, nah, the energy that you give, you got to put that on the track. So that push right there made it, just opened up. It made me a whole different type of monster.
Right. With the R&B shit, did like kind of going back to, I guess, like your early career, right? Was it something that, I don't want to say you were forced to do, but was it something that you felt like you had to do? Or do you, because like what made it like so where it's like, oh, this is obviously this is the real you right now, right? This project is like the real version of you. But like what was kind of like going on at that time with the R&B shit that it just, didn't make sense for you or at the time?
Well, I grew up in church. Like I was in the church choir.
Okay.
So I don't know, I wasn't about to sing no gospel, so R&B was like the next thing. And then, my mom, my aunts, like I just grew up on a lot of R&B and I had a really strong singing voice. So I don't know, I just gravitated. That was just like my craft, like what I created. And I used to play around rapping, but that wasn't like a thing. So I still love doing R&B. Like, shout out to Rock Nation because, I'm writing for them. But I feel like that's something I could always tap back into. But now I feel like with the rapping and the singing and the creative, that's like what I've been wanting to do my whole life, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, like the rapping is really Antha Pantha, and the writing is like, it's like a separate bag. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Because you said you started like helping out with writing over at Rock. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
And that's cool too. And then I feel like, I don't know, I feel too vulnerable sometimes when I sing, and I ain't trying to be vulnerable right now. I'm trying to be tough.
Right, like you don't want to be boohooing.
Yeah, not yet. Y'all get that, the third album.
The third album gonna be like that?
The country album.
The country album.
Yeah.
Well, what's My Achy Breaky Heart? That's
don't break my heart. My achy,
that's gonna be you on that album. Yo, I want to ask because I love the brick by brick video. Right, it's super dope.
Thank you.
With the visuals, because you even mentioned that even like before the pandemic, you had like you and Ferg have recorded a bunch of videos, so on and so forth. But with the visuals that you put out, how invested into them are you, and how much do you craft like the storyline behind them? And also, again, I use the word intent a lot, but like the intent behind them, because you could tell with your visuals that there's like actual thought and like love put into it.
Well, shout out to all my videos, like every director I've worked with. From Renell to Mikey, Davey, like they're all socks. Like they all bring my ideas to life. Like of course I come up with the crazy ideas, but it takes a lot to actually get that on film. Yeah. So I do that part. Like I'll come up with the theme or like the idea that I have, and we'll just have like a conversation about it. I'll make like a little treatment that is not a good one, but I'll get some good pictures from Google so that they can understand.
Yeah, slap a little something like Photoshop or Canva or something. Yeah,
throw a little paragraph in there.
Enough so they understand, so they can craft it. Yep.
And then they add the enhancements, and so the last videos that I shot, I actually did a little directing and a little coaching on set and on stuff. So
fire.
That was super dope. Like I'm a director. Yay.
We does this.
I do everything.
But you gonna direct like you got to take on like the full role at some point too. Like you got to directed by, written by.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
Performed
by, direct, all that. Costumes by, hair, makeup. Nah.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, I was like, you kind of dragging it a little bit. I'm trying to think. I saw somebody tweet. They're like, "Did you?" Hit Kid, because he got like the all girls album coming out. Mm-hmm. They're like, "Did you pay for this photo shoot? Did you pay for?" He's like, "I paid for the photo shoot, not the wigs." He's like, "I want no parts in that."
Yeah, I ain't want no parts of the wigs.
We'll get that version of you eventually.
Yeah, I think it's coming because I'm learning a lot. It's fun, and what I like about it is I'm not asking to learn these things. They kind of just like fall on my lap, and I just figure it out and embrace it.
So where do we go from here? What's next after this?
So what's next is we outside now. What's
we
next?
outside for surely.
I got a lot of stuff next.
Okay.
We got some videos. We got a short film.
Okay, cool.
We got just seeing me performing. Like I'm getting into that because I wasn't really not comfortable with performing, but it just wasn't something that I did. Mm-hmm. Like everything is so digital now. It's just like put out a video, boom. So now I like performing actually. I like letting people see me.
Word.
So that's what y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see me everywhere, running my mouth, talking my shit, couple interviews.
Respectfully.
Some videos. talking to the fans, trying to see what's up, so y'all can point me in the right direction. On what next video to shoot. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Well, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you so much.
By the time the people see this, Freestyle now. Go run that up. Feline season also out now. Go run that up. Go stream it. Before you get up out of here, anything else you want to let the people know where they can follow you at, all that good stuff. Now's the time to do it. This camera on the right here.
Y'all can follow me at Antha Pantha on everything. YouTube, Instagram. You could go on Spotify, Apple. You could look me up, Antha Pantha. Not the. And, run that shit up. It's Feline season every season. Wow.
There you go. Well, make sure you go check out everything she has out now. Go run up the freestyle. Go run up the project. Go show her some love. Go show her some support. Love is free. Support is free. But y'all already knew that. Till next time, Antha Pantha on the radar. We out. Pow. Love. Appreciate you.